When I was a kid, I spent most of my time exploring outside. That's where I discovered the power of nature, plants, and science. My whole world changed, and there was no looking back. Some people have diaries. I kept notebooks of all my adventures. Whatever I need to find, a faraway place, an old friend, or a window to the world beneath our feet. It's all in there. Just turn the page and whoa! My name is Maria, and these are my nature notebooks. Have you ever heard the saying, stop and smell the flowers? Well, people say that because it's always nice to slow down, take a deep breath, and enjoy the beauty around you right at that moment. Do you have a flower that you love to smell? Maybe it's a magnolia or a honeysuckle. Or a rose. I love the smell of roses. Some flowers smell nice to attract things like bees. And other ones, they're kind of stinky. Let's take a visit to the Chicago Botanic Garden greenhouses. Maybe we'll see and smell some interesting things there. Are you ready? Well, let's go. It is so cool to be able to walk around in here. Do you know what a greenhouse is? Well, a greenhouse is a place where all kinds of plants can be grown while being protected from the cold weather. I don't know about you, but Chicago can get pretty chilly sometimes. While some plants and flowers may do okay with the freezing weather, others need to stay warm and they need special care. Some are so hard to find and they have so much trouble adjusting to changes in the environment that they need our help to survive. So all these rare, beautiful, and strange plants can be grown right here. These plants come to the Chicago Botanic Garden from all over the world. These plants are so rare, most people aren't even allowed in this room. You want to go meet a couple of my friends and learn all about the Titans? Come on, let's go. We are here in the production greenhouses, and our friends are going to tell us all about Titans. Pat, can you tell us more about this?
Sure, this is one of our Titan Arum plants in the production greenhouse, and this looks like a tree, but it is in fact just a single leaf of these amazing plants.
I've never seen a leaf look like this. How does it get so big?
Well, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? It is one leaf, and it just keeps growing and develops into this very large structure that looks to most people like a tree. This is a plant that comes from the tropics, and tropical plants sometimes do amazing things that we don't see here.
In Sumatra, they can be 18 to 24, 25 feet tall. It takes a while for them to get as tall as these here, and they can grow for 6 to 12 months in this stage, and then they very slowly turn to what you see behind you.
After a while, the leaf takes a rest and it turns brown and will fall, just like the leaves of the trees outside your house or wherever. In the fall, they turn yellow, turn red, and fall from the tree.
It's very soft and it's very smooth. It's not what you would think of a typical leaf that you see in the fall when it gets dry and it's all crumbly. This is nothing like that.
This leaf is done, and so now it's drawing all of the sugars down into the root system, and then the leaf will collapse. And the plant then goes dormant. It's sleeping essentially for several months until it's ready to put up a new leaf.
This is the plant starting to draw the energy back from this down under the soil.
Wow. It's so smooth. It feels like a cucumber.
It also feels and sounds just like a watermelon. Listen to this.
So are the insides juicy like a watermelon?
It is inside, you bet.
Wow.
Do you want to see what the inside of this looks like?
Would you guys like to see? Of course we would.
So this is what it looks like in the middle of the plant. It's almost like a sponge.
It's very bumpy and very soft. Why is it like that? Look, we can squeeze it.
So here you can see all of the plant cells. And they hold a lot of water so that the plant can grow. And that's why it's so squishy.
And the sponge holds water, just like this holds water. What is this? Oh, it's so heavy.
Isn't this amazing? This is the bulb of these titans.
The bulb, what is that?
This is what has all those sugars and all that water went to while the leaf was growing that whole season. So as the plant gets older and older and bigger, the bulb gets bigger.
The biggest one we had was about 190 pounds, and it took 4 people to lift it up out of the crate and repot it.
190 pounds? That must have been huge.
It was ginormous.
This is a new leaf coming up from that bulb that we just looked at. So down below the soil is another bulb, and this is what's starting to produce a new leaf. But they can look, when they come up out of the soil, they can look like either a leaf or that giant titan flower. And we don't know what they are until they get about this age, and then we can start to see.
Those are little leaves? Look at that.
Well, it's part of the same leaf. Remember, this is only going to produce one big leaf.
So as that leaf continues to grow taller, it eventually starts to develop these branches on what looks like a tree, but is really just a single leaf. And then it starts to open up, and it looks a bit like an upside down or inside out umbrella.
Look, friends, it does look like an inside out umbrella. When you're outside and the wind is blowing too hard, that's exactly what it looks like. So this leaf is really cool. What about the flowers? Does it grow flowers?
You bet it does. And the flowers are really big too. 7, 8 feet. That's why they call them the titans. They're big. But the flowers themselves only last maybe 2 days at the most. Titans, they have a unique color to them too when they flower that looks like a steak.
What does it smell like?
So there are a bunch of different smells, and none of them are good. They're all very stinky. And one kind of cool thing is, of all of the flowers that we've had here, they've all had a slightly different stinky smell. Some of them smell like garbage. Some of them smell like dead fish. Some of them smell like rotten vegetables. There's the whole range of smells.
Ew, that's not at all what we know flowers smell like. Can you tell us some more?
So normally we think of flowers smelling sweet and good to attract the bees and other pollinators. But since these don't have bees as pollinators, they make the smell to attract the insects that they need to pollinate them.
Not every insect likes flowers that smell nice. some of them like flowers that we think smell terrible.
So we think it's a bad smell, but animals and insects like it. Can you tell us a little bit more about why?
Right, well, those insects are looking for something to eat, and so the plants produce that odor, that bad smell, but they also produce heat. And the heat makes that smell go further in the air. Remember, these plants are flowering at night when it's dark, so it may be difficult for the insect to find this plant at night, but these plants produce heat. It makes the odor spread further, and many insects can see in the infrared. They can see the difference between hot and cold. And so these flowers, when they're heating up, they will look like a neon sign to the insects, and they're drawn to it. So the insects come to these plants looking for this dead meat. They don't get anything from it. They don't get anything to eat, but they help the plants. They pollinate the plants, which is something that has to happen for those plants to produce the fruits and seeds that are needed for the next generation.
Well, it's good that they do not find anything to eat. We don't want them to eat the plant. And frankly, it sounds pretty gross to eat a plant that smells like stinky socks.
This plant you don't want to eat. Inside the seeds, animals and insects don't want to eat it because it's like glass. These plants produce in their leaves and the seeds and the roots, they produce a compound called calcium crystallate. And it can basically cut up your mouth, and it almost act like a poison and cut up the stomach.
Do plants use that as a protection?
Yep, and actually there are quite a number of different plants that produce the same kind of crystals in their tissues. And it's a way to keep animals from eating them.
But there is a bird that is attracted to the plant and will eat the seeds to spread the seeds.
Really? What bird is that?
It's a hornbill.
And funny, this bird doesn't fly. It just walks around and eats the seeds. So it's the only bird that can eat the seed. So as it digests that and goes through the stomach, and that's how the seeds are spread.
Is this the only stage where they have that smell, or do they smell like that all the time?
Thank goodness it is only in this stage. There are some mornings where I come into this greenhouse and there might not be a giant titan that's blooming, but I can tell there's a flower somewhere, and I have to go and hunt it down, and then I know what's making the bad smell. Sometimes it only lasts in the morning, sometimes it lasts all day. It depends, but it's often unpleasant.
What is it like working around such stinky flowers?
I spend as little time in here as possible when that happens.
I bet. These are some of the strangest plants my friends and I have ever seen. Thank you guys so much for your time and for showing my friends and I so much cool stuff. We learned a lot. It is amazing that here at the Chicago Botanic Garden, you can see a Titan Arum like to mine here. Now, I'm not gonna tell you how bad it smells. You're gonna have to come smell for yourself. The flowers we usually see smell good to attract things like bees. The Titan Arum smells like something flies would want to eat, which smells like garbage. Ew. That's somewhat yucky until you think about it. And when you see the flower, it is out of this world. So, some plants look good and smell good, while others look beautifully strange and smell gross. And they all do it for a reason. It's almost like a plant is talking to insects and animals and even to us humans. Some may say, come closer, while others may say, stay back. When you look at a plant like a Titan Arum or a flower, don't just think about how beautiful it is. Ask yourself, how did this get here? What is it doing? The answer just might surprise you. Let's imagine what it would be like to talk to a Titan Arum. I wonder what they would say.
Hi there. How are you today?
I'm good. Oh, what is that horrible smell?
Horrible smell? Well, it can't be me because I smell great.
Yeah. I don't want to be rude, but you don't smell that great.
Oh, my friends, the beetles and the flies, we all think that I smell great.
Well, maybe different noses just smell different things.
You know, I don't smell like this all the time. It's really only when I bloom, when I show my flower.
And when do you bloom?
Well, it takes about 7 to 10 years for me.
Wait, did you say 7 to 10 years?
Yeah, that seems pretty normal. I need my beauty rest, just like everybody else. How much sleep do you need?
Definitely not that long. I only sleep 8 hours a day.
So 8 hours times 24 hours in a day times 365 days in a year. Well, that's not enough sleep at all. I feel like I'm being pranked right now. Where's the camera?
There's no camera, silly. We just don't need that much sleep.
Hey, would you like to see what it looks like when me and my friends bloom?
That sounds fantastic.
All right, let's go take a look.
Let's go.
And here we go!
Never knew something that smelled so bad could be so interesting. I guess it all depends on how you look at things. Sometimes the cover of a book may not seem too exciting, but then you open it up and your whole world changes. Sometimes a plant or a person may seem so different from you, but most of the time there's a lot more going on inside. You just have to take the time to slow down, listen, and get to know them. You might be surprised by what you discover. We had so much fun today, and I cannot wait for our next adventure. Now remember, you too can create nature notebooks just like these. We got some really cool letters from some of you watching. Our friend Evie said the show was so cool. I didn't know bees pollinated flowers. I can't wait for the next show. Our friend Maya wrote, I really liked the show. It was very entertaining. I did not know that bees were fuzzy. You are correct, Maya. Some bees are very fuzzy. Dominique said, this is awesome. My 4-year-old loved it. After he watched, he became a bee and had to feed all his bee babies and then wore yellow and black jammies to bed. That is pretty cool. I'd love to see what you're writing, creating, and drawing. So open up your nature notebooks and explore more. See you next time.